Hello, welcome and thank you for being with us. Once again on the road to Beijing, we are now less than 2 weeks away from the opening ceremonies on August 8th. Our Olympic flame moves along its final stages, having crisscrossed its way around nearly all of the Chinese territory. It wound through the east of the country this week, crossing Shandong province, going on to follow the Yellow River in the province of Henan. The colorful daily relay continues to generate unabated enthusiasm among the Chinese people. With pressure mounting day by day as the grand event moves ever closer, the nervousness of the Chinese authorities rises apace. Despite promises of openness given at the time of the attribution of the Games in 2001, in the run-up to the Olympics, it is decidedly not easy to be a dissident in China.
She's barely 5 feet tall, but for the Chinese government, she's a looming threat to national security. Tibetan poet Woizert Tsering is being monitored for speaking up against the Beijing regime. After being denied a passport for 3 years, she's decided to sue the Chinese government, hoping to draw attention to its iron grip on the people.
The Chinese government has not kept its promises. Quite the contrary. In strict terms, it has kidnapped the Olympic Games. Because it is using the Olympic Games as a big platform to exhibit its power.
With only days left to the opening ceremony, Beijing is stepping up the crackdown on dissidents, but also on HIV/AIDS patients and activists. Human Rights Watch says many are under house arrest, moved away from the capital, or jailed. This week, a prominent internet dissident was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Another dissident, human rights activist Wu Wenju, was held in solitary confinement for 20 days. They pushed me into a car, and then they took a black cloth and covered my head, like this. The run-up to the Olympics has been swirling with controversy. In March, a pro-democracy uprising in Tibet was violently repressed. The worldwide torch relay was marred by protests. Despite this, Chinese censorship means little foreign criticism is reported.
Athletes from around the world will converge on the Olympic village in a few days, and preparations for their welcome are in place, including deluxe appointments for their comfort and repose before and after the competitions. In the matter of food and meals, however, many are opting for caution.
In China, an athlete could fail a doping test straight after he's had dinner. Here, doped animals, and therefore meat, are no urban legend. More often than not, farmers feed their animals antibiotics or anabolic steroids to sell them at a higher price. Well aware of the risks, authorities are trying to control the situation. A newly installed mobile lab will control the quality of foods in the Olympic city. At the heart of the operation is this Centre for Food Safety. Using daily samples, they track pesticides, bacteria and steroids in food.
I look for antibiotic residue from what's fed to the animals. A small trace could be dangerous for humans.
French athletes will eat 100% Chinese, unlike their American, German or Japanese counterparts, who'll be importing their own food. The Chinese authorities don't seem too concerned about the situation.
We will not show disappointment to those to their action. I believe we have our confidence in our food safety. What we want to do is that we will try our best.
During the Olympic Games, this company will provide up to 9,000 pigs per day. It was chosen by the state and approved by the Olympic Committee. The company's top priority is hygiene. The carcasses are disinfected and knives are washed after every use. Sanitation standards that are way above the norm.
I don't think athletes have to worry. We're very strict about the raising of our animals. We check for diseases, and before they go to the slaughterhouse, we check for any toxic residues.
In Beijing, every food product needs to be given a traceable code before hitting the shelves or being served in restaurants. But outside the Olympic city, there's always the risk of food poisoning for both athletes and visitors.
On the matter of nourishment, certain of the athletes competing in these games are opting for simple fare: water, a generous portion of oats, and a fat carrot every now and then fills the bill. I'm speaking of the horses, of course. Prior to departure for the furnace-like heat of Hong Kong, where the equestrian competitions will take place, French horses are in training in Normandy. Willy Bracciano.
Sun, sea, fresh air and beach as far as the eye can see. A perfect spot to train future champions. No, not these champions. Just before leaving for the Olympics, 2 weeks of lost preparations for horses and riders of the French Olympic equestrian team. Here, the surf meets the turf.
It's true, this is a change of scenery, the ocean. The horses are happy to be here. They really enjoyed this.
Good for the mood, but also excellent conditions for the horses' muscular training.
What's great about this is that the ground is perfect for them to canter. I mean, we can ride them on deep ground, so we asked them to make a huge effort without going fast, which is important to keep the legs in good shape. And then we can ride them on firmer ground next to the water. Another advantage is that they just have to go straight. That's important because the horse's legs won't get tired from doing sharp turns. And to walk half an hour in the water after having a long run is good for stretching.
Their training is put to the test. 3-day event contestants have to master jumping, dressage and cross-country. In 2004, France won the gold medal in Athens thanks to Galant de Sauvager, written by Nicolas Touzin, and Espoir de la Mare, written by Jean Touleur.
It's true, there are two main players in this team, and that's Galant and Espoir. The two have always had the highest marks in dressage competitions, for instance on this year's Grand National Circuit. They're always first and second, or second and first. So I think those two horses are the most likely to win an individual medal. And if everything goes well, a medal for the team, after all. It's based on everyone's individual performances.
To win a team medal, they have to stick together. The quarantine imposed by China before the Games helps them in more ways than one. Once in Beijing, the team faces tough competition. The British and the Germans are both in line for the gold medal.
The horses will fly to Hong Kong this Sunday from Amsterdam Airport. The last batch of tickets went on sale this week in China and had no difficulty finding takers. Some waited in line for hours. In brief, Iraqi athletes have been banned from the Games, the International Olympic Committee not taking kindly to Baghdad's decision to disband its national committee and replace members left over from the previous regime. According to the IOC, the Iraqi government should not meddle in sports. And with that, we come to the end of our show. Next week, we will be in Beijing to take you inside final preparations during this last week before the Games. Join us next weekend here on France 24.